Venerable Milgan, Venerable Chicago, and all Dharma friends joining on the discussion today. We will continue with the prologue of Lama Chemo. I will be presenting the interpretation based on teacher Tang Yuling's explanation, founder of the Unlimited Lights Chinese Culture Academy, UOA. Your feedback and questions are welcome. Before we begin our study, following Teacher Tang's guidance before each session, we will always invite everyone to join in a prayer. Now, please bring your hands together and recite with me. To help all sentient beings across all universes, we must strive for ultimate enlightenment. The path to enlightenment begins with learning the Buddha's teachings. We are currently exploring the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, Volume 1. May all Buddhas, Dharma, Sangha, and past practitioners empower us to deepen our understanding of the teaching and equip us to overcome our own suffering and that of others. With unwavering dedication, one day we may achieve ultimate enlightenment and establish Pure Lands. Together, we can guide all sentient beings toward liberation from suffering and toward enlightenment. Let's recite the name of the Buddha 3 times, seeking his blessings for protection and guidance on our study. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay, now we are on prologue, homage at the beginning, 偏首礼赞. This prologue was composed by the author J. Tsongkhapa to invoke the blessings of the lineage and remove any obstacles to disseminating the text. Up to this point, we have paid homage to the root guru by honoring the Buddha's 3 activities, body, speech, and mind, especially praising the excellence of the Buddha's speech. We have also paid homage to the lineage. So paying homage to the lineage began from the chief of the Sakyas, Shakyamuni Buddha, and 2 great trailblazers, profound view, Manju Gosam or Manjushri Bodhisattva, to Nagarjuna Bodhisattva, and vast deeds, Maitreya Bodhisattva to Asanga Bodhisattva, and both lineages, 2 great trailblazers, teachings, all gathered and transmitted to Dipankara, Atisha master, and to many, many teachers. Last time we've talked about these Chokyab Zangpo and Namkha Gyaltsen gurus of the stages of the path lineage. And we also went through this mirror field quickly. When we speak of the mirror field, people in Eastern cultures often talk about cultivating our field of merit as though we are tending our own inner garden. Okay, not outside, there is a field, but more like our inner garden. From Buddhist perspective, however, the merit field is not in our own hearts, but in other beings. Traditionally, 3 fields are distinguished. The field of compassion, Beitian, like suffering sentient beings, or the field of gratitude, Entian, one's parents and spiritual teachers. or the field of reverence, the three jewels, for example. The mirror field shown here focuses on the lineage. Uh, it is an indispensable field for attaining Buddhahood, more extraordinary than any other. In the center of the depiction is Je Tsongkhapa, the founder of the Gelug school. Or you can say, yeah, this is anyone's guru, root guru, but shown the face as Je Tsongkhapa, because we revere our own root master just like we revere Je Tsongkhapa. So they both can be the same one when visualizing our own root guru. Okay, so on his left hand is the profound view lineage, and on his right is the vast deeds lineage. At the upper left is the Tushita Pure Land here of Maitreya Bodhisattva, where we see Master Atisha and Je Tsongkhapa there. In upper right, or from our way to say, you look at the picture on the upper right is the Amitabha Buddha's Skavati, or the ultimate bliss, featuring Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva and Mahasamaprapta Bodhisattva here. Looking at the left side, the principal lineage holder is Maitreya Bodhisattva, corresponding to the Tushita Pure Land. On the right, the lineage is traced to Manjushri Bodhisattva, corresponding to Pure Land Sukhavati. And when we talk about Madhyamika view, the middle way, is central to the Buddha's omniscient wisdom. Hence, for those studying the middle way, Madhyamika, the optimal rebirth in the next life, we can say, is the Pure Land of ultimate bliss right here. Okay. And below Je Tsongkhapa are gracious gurus. In Gelug tradition, gracious gurus refer to the lineage of spiritual teachers who transmit the Buddha's teachings, most important transmission we're talking about. And starting with Je Tsongkhapa himself, these gurus are highly revered as living embodiments of wisdom and compassion, guiding practitioners on the path to enlightenment. The relationship between a guru and disciple is considered fundamental, as the guru provides personalized instruction and blessings essential for spiritual progress. And then the four great tantric Vajra deities. The four great tantric Vajra deities are central to the tantric practices of the Gelug tradition, which is deeply rooted in Vajrayana Buddhism. These deities are associated with specific tantras and meditative practices aimed at transforming ordinary perceptions into enlightenment or into enlightened awareness. They are Yamataka, 大威德金刚, wrathful the manifestation of Manjushri Bodhisattva, the great wisdom. Yamataka symbolizes the conquest of death and ignorance, especially ignorance, because the ignorance is the source to cause us endlessly in this cycle of birth and death, helping practitioners overcome obstacles through fierce compassion. Okay. And then is Guya Samaya, or Guya Samaja, known as the secret assembly. This deity represents the unity of all enlightened beings. Practices related to Guya Samaya Guyam Sam Maja, focus on realizing the illusory body and the clear light nature of the mind. In Chinese, we call 密集金刚, which we will consider also very important deity when cultivating Vajrayana Buddhism. And the third one would be Chakra Samvara, 胜乐金刚, a deity symbolizing the union of bliss and emptiness. Chakra Samvara is associated with practices that harness desire and transform it into a path to enlightenment. And Hevajra, 喜金刚, this is uniquely presented in Gelug tradition. Usually, people in Sakya tradition, they will cultivate on these mantras and teachings related to this particular deity, Hevajra. Okay, representing the inseparably or inseparability of wisdom and compassion. Now, Evadra's practices emphasize the transformation of negative emotions into enlightened qualities. Then is Anuttara Yoga Tantra. Okay, so for tantras, this is the highest yoga tantra. Anuttara Yoga Tantra is the highest among the 4 classes of Tantra. It includes the most advanced and profound practices aimed at achieving enlightenment in a single lifetime. Utilizes the state of Buddhahood as the path and transforms worldly desire into the path to enlightenment. Okay. So these practices involve deity yoga, visualizing oneself as a deity, inner heat, 着火定, and meditation on the illusory body and clear light. Anuttara Yoga Tantra is considered the pinnacle of tantric practice, exemplified by the teachings associated with the 4 great Vajra deities just mentioned. And Yoga Tantra, 瑜伽部, Yoga Tantra is the 3rd class of Tantra. It focuses entirely on meditative practice, emphasizes meditation on deities, along with the use of mantras, mudras, meaning hand gestures, and mandalas. Practitioners focus on internalizing the qualities of the deity to purify the mind and the body, preparing them for higher tantric practices. So we can say that Yoga Tantra bridges external rituals and internal contemplation. And the lower part, the Karya Tantra, Karya Tantra, performance Tantra. Karya Tantra, the 2nd class of Tantra, involves a balanced approach of external rituals such as offerings and purifications, and internal meditation. Balances external rituals and meditative practices equally. It focuses on developing bodhicitta and accumulating merit. Practitioners begin to integrate deity visualization with ethical conduct and mindfulness. And then the lower one, Kriya Tantra, Action Tantra, emphasizes external ritual practices. This Kriya Tantra is the first and most fundamental class of Tantra. Primarily involves external rituals such as chanting mantras, making offerings, and performing purification practices, often for protection or blessings. Kriya Tantra serves as an entry point for practitioners, preparing them for the more internal focus of higher tantras. And then come to the Buddhas, the fully enlightened beings who have attained complete awakening, and bodhisattvas, practitioners on the path to enlightenment, motivated by compassion to benefit all sentient beings. And then Patyeka Buddhas, solitary realizers who achieve enlightenment independently by merits and wisdom accumulated, cultivated in previous lives. And then we have Shravakas, disciples seeking personal liberation through guidance of a Buddha's teachings. And then we have Dakas and Dakinis, are male and female deities or enlightened beings in Tantric Buddhism. Dakas represent skillful means, while Dakinis embody wisdom. In the Gelug tradition, they are involved in tantric practices to support practitioners, acting as guides or messengers of enlightenment. They are particularly significant in the visualizations and rituals of Anuttara Yoga Tantra. And then the Dharma protectors and their retinues. Dharma protectors are deities tasked with safeguarding the Buddhist teachings and practitioners. So when we practice Dharma, all these Dharma protectors will be helping us, surrounding us. And if you are especially doing the right thing, cultivating as well as propagating the Buddha Dharma. In the Gelug tradition, key protectors include Mahakala, the wrathful deity Daheitian, or Pelden Lamo, a fierce female protector Jiliang Tianyu, or Dhamma Raja, associated with Yamantaka Yenmo Fa Wang. Along with their retinues, they remove obstacles and ensure the purity of the Dharma, playing a vital role in tantric practice. And then come to the four heavenly kings, east, south, west, and north. The east side, this guardian of the eastern direction, often depict with a lute, an instrument. In Chinese would be 持国天王, and the south protector of the south, associated with the growth and power, and the west would be the guardian of the west, of course, symbolized by a snake or stupa, with eyes seeing widely and vastly. And then the north, so the west is Guangmu, the south is Zhengshang, Zhengzhang, and the north, protector of the north, associated with the wealth and abundance in knowledge, which is 多闻天王. Okay, so in summary, the gracious gurus transmit the teachings, the four great tantric Vajra deities and four classes of tantra provide the methods, and the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Patyeka Buddhas, and Shravakas demonstrates the stages of realization. And Dakas and Dakinis, Dharma protectors, and four heavenly kings offer support and protection, presenting a comprehensive framework for practitioners aiming for enlightenment. Okay, so we have shown this slide last time, a transmission of the teachings on the stages of the path to enlightenment began with Venerable Atisha. His disciple Venerable Drumtampa founded the Gatam school, or Gatam school. This lineage primarily explains the essential path of practice for the three capacities of individuals. Teacher Tang especially reminds us that for the transmission of teachings, If there is a person who transmits, but no content being transmitted, it cannot be called a teaching. If there is content, but no person transmitting, it also cannot be called a teaching. So to receive the teachings of the Buddha must, through the transmission of teachings from these teachers, to provide teachings. So from Venerable Drumtumpa, Atisha's late disciple, the instruction lineage, Lamrim lineage, and classical lineage were established. Ultimately, the transmissions of these three lineages were all passed on to Je Tsongkhapa. So from Khatam's tradition to Je Tsongkhapa, the founder of the Gelug school. And then last time we also saw this slide. The earliest transmitters of these three lineages are all students of Venerable Atisha. The classical lineage, as seen in this great treatise, involves transmitters who use many classical texts to support the content being taught. The Lamrim lineage is like the condensed treatise, while the instruction lineage is extremely important as it inspires deep connection to the teachings and transmits the key methods of practice. Okay, so the instruction lineage is, I would say, the most important, the oral transmission. So we can see the texts such as J. Papanka Rinpoche's Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand. Among them, this Bodowa was the most accomplished of the three lineage holders. When Venerable Drumtumpa passed away, there is a temple called Rajang Monastery, had only around 50 practitioners. By the time of Venerable Bodowa, Rajang Monastery had over 1,000 practitioners. Okay, so for example, this Chekawa is also very important. Is the author of the 7 Points of Mind Training. Venerable Langri Tangpa, is the author of 8 verses of training the mind. These two figures are so important when we study how to generate a bodhicitta. Additionally, Lama Umapa, the name I think is not here. The Umapa once taught Je Tsongkhapa the practice associated with Manjushri, enabling Je Tsongkhapa to see Manjushri Bodhisattva at any time. Okay. So when Je Tsongkhapa met Lama Umapa, he asked about the profound and difficult points of Madhyamika, confirming that the Manjushri Bodhisattva he directly perceived was the only hope in this era for transmitting teachings and resolving doubts. Therefore, Je Tsongkhapa immediately seized the opportunity to ask Manjushri Bodhisattva many questions about correct view, and the master and disciple even went into retreat together at Gawadang, this place, discussing the Dharma daily. Later, in the teachings of Bodhisattva Manjushri, that we can see Manjushri Bodhisattva gave Je Tsongkhapa the instruction. And later, the Manjushri Bodhisattva that Je Tsongkhapa directly perceived repeatedly say, now there is no need to ask me questions again and again. Indeed, thoroughly analyze the great canonical texts they are entirely consistent with what I have taught you. If there is even a slight discrepancy, it is the so-called instructions that should be discarded, not the great canonical texts. Okay, that is simply put is like now you don't have to ask Manjushri Bodhisattva questions because you yourself are already received the complete teachings from the Bodhisattva. So now you will be able to express all these Dharma correctly and accurately, okay, to this J Tsongkhapa. Uh, and we talked about this Nam Ka Gyeoksin, the banner of the sky, and Chokya Zangpo, virtuous protector of the Dharma, or Je Tsongkhapa's gracious teachers. Okay, they did not directly teach him, but can regard them as the gracious teachers of Je Tsongkhapa. And before the age of 38, Je Tsongkhapa had fully mastered all the content of the Madhyamika Prasangika school, becoming the greatest Madhyamika master in Tibet. At the age of 30 and 38 was a very important turning point in Je Tsongkhapa's life. Okay. Basically, these above information or the information shared by Teacher Tang. So in order to present all these messages incomplete, so I try to translate them and try to share them with you. So if you have any further questions, you may let me know at the end of today's session. So now we are entering this part, making a vow to compose the treatise from this prologue. Let's recite this together. Nowadays, those making effort at yoga have studied few of the classic texts, while those who have studied much are not skilled in the key points of practice. They tend to view the scriptures through the eyes of partisanship, unable to use reason to discriminate the meaning of the scriptures. 精勤于且多寡闻，广闻不善于修要，观是佛语多片言，复乏理辩教义力。Okay, so nowadays those making effort at yoga have studied few of the classic texts. Okay, so many Buddhist practitioners like to sit in meditation or engage in various forms of contemplation. They often focus on the single approach, such as meditating on the impurity of the body, for example, on impermanence, or on counting the breath, and spend a lifetime practicing only that one or two methods. Whenever they teach or discuss the Dharma, they claim that their chosen meditation, like the impurity or impermanence or the breath counting approach, is the most important. Others dedicate their entire lives to reciting the name of the Buddha, dismissing all other forms of practice, and insisting that because life is impermanent, one shall let go of everything else. Okay, the most of the teachers will say in Buddhism, currently we can see. So consequently, many practitioners live in temples, hermitages, or caves, devoting themselves to a single narrow type of practice. By cultivating a degree of calm and pliancy through their meditative approach, they may consider themselves to have attained an exceptional achievement. So you can see that some of the Vajrayana method being practiced, and those people that would claim that the Vajrayana teachings would be the most important, But these are because of a limited exposure to and understanding of the broader principles of the Buddha's teachings. As a result, some come to hold an incomplete, one sided view of Buddhism, a teaching or practicing only what they personally favor. So they even assert that their perspective alone is genuine, while others are mistaken. I just heard that, just recently. Okay, people claim so. In J. Tsongkhapa's time, the flourishing of Dharma teachings was still relatively robust. By comparison, in our modern era, even if there are many instructors, few people attend their talks on Dharma. They mostly shown up at large ceremonies to witness elaborate arrangements, listen to solemn chanting, or observe special mantras or mudras and rituals. Okay, so these are what J. Tsongkhapa described, and nowadays those making effort at yoga have studied few of the classic texts. While those who have studied much are not skilled in the key points of practice. Okay, many practitioners do not grasp the essentials of studying Buddhism, and their learning tends to be disorganized. They have no sense of a graded path, stages to enlightenment, no direct lineage, or they focus solely on scholarly analysis and deconstruction, even deconstructing Buddhism in general. Okay, so they thought that they would be able to reach emptiness or enlightenment, even. In Taiwan, for instance, some monastics approach their Dharma lectures by teaching whatever they see fit at any given time. They may extol a certain method for a while, then later downplay its importance, leaving listeners to continually switch their practices. Okay. Some even come to regard certain parts of the Dharma as dispensable. Okay, so this is incredible, or unimaginable, uh, especially to J. Tsongkhapa at the time. He had seen all these, and now it's still continuing happening, as we can witness. They tend to view the scriptures through the eyes of partisanship. Okay, as a result, people develop opinions on what authentic practice should be. Some emphasize meditative sitting and prostrations. Some say one should not analyze too much. Others emphasize exoteric teachings, while others insist Vajrayana is supreme. Okay. Without a guideline or without a guiding lineage, individuals cobble together bits and pieces from different sources, relying solely on personal reasoning, often without verification, and attempt to interpret the teachings on their own. This creates obstacles, not to others, but their own spiritual path. Okay. And unable to use reason to discriminate the meaning of the scriptures, lacking the wisdom to discern the meaning of the Dharma, or without sufficient critical thinking skills to distinguish definitive teachings like Liao Yi from provisional ones, Bu Liao Yi. They wobble around. In J. Tsongkhapa's educational system, a logical debate is highly valued. Through repeated analysis, one can deduce why the emptiness taught in the Yogacara school and by the Svatantrika Madhyamika, both are not the definitive emptiness. And why only the emptiness expounded by the Prasankika Madhyamika is the ultimate meaning of the emptiness. Okay, Teacher Tang emphasizes the importance of having a reasoning-based approach, as discriminating insight capable of discerning the truth. Only then, during meditation, can one integrate this reasoned understanding and personally confirm the authenticity of the Buddha's teachings, rather than settling for a superficial understanding. Furthermore, those who expound the Dharma and skillfully employ reasoning to clarify its principles provide a most precious form of instruction. Okay. So in short, this passage highlights Tsongkhapa's observation of practitioners in his day. People lacked an understanding of a systematic progression in practice, grasped the Dharma in a piecemeal way, or uncritically took in everything without knowing how to apply it in cultivation. Observing this, Tsongkhapa was moved to compose the great treatise, Lam Chim. Okay, so let's just move on and recite. And therefore, having seen that they lack the path pleasing to the wise, the supreme complete instructions, the key points of the teaching, I was inspired to explain this path of the great trailblazers. 故离智者欢喜道，圆满教要圣教授见已是此大车道，故我心意便永喜。Okay, so therefore, having seen that they lack the path pleasing to the wise, the supreme complete instructions, the key points of the teaching. The wise refers to those who have gained the profound understanding of the Buddha's teachings. And the path pleasing to the wise by composing treatises that delight the wise, defeating non-Buddhist opponents in debate, and teachings in a way that draws together virtuous people. One fully accomplishes an all-encompassing essential exposition of both scriptural authority and logical reasoning. Okay. And I was inspired to explain this path of the great trailblazers. Okay, so Tsongkhapa at the time saw all these chaotic situations. He did not actually given up this propagating teachings of the Buddha, but instead he inspired from those chaotic situations and began explaining more on the teachings of the Buddha. So this is quite inspiring to us as well. So what we can do in this time, also the chaotic moment in the world, to spread the Dharma. Okay, so the key points of the teachings, the great trailblazers, 大车道, seeing the Buddha as wheel of the teachings can be what we are talking about, the great trailblazers. Okay, it's like turning the wheel. So there are like 4 ways to talk about turning wheels. Seeing the Buddha's wheel of teachings, that's one, 教法论, through the stages of the path, of course. This refers to the Dharma of the Buddha taught based on his omniscient wisdom, which alone can subdue the afflictions of sentient beings. Okay. And of course, he expressed all the teachings, and then we received all the teachings, then that's scriptural teachings. The second one, 教法, relates to the lineage transmitted from generation to generation, all these great gurus passing down the Dharma to us. Ordinary being can perceive and pass on the lineage, different lineages of teachings to describe the teachings of the Buddha. And the third kind of notion or understanding can be received through turning of the wheel is to realize the wheel of teachings, 正法论, building on the scriptural teachings, practitioners who hear, reflect on, and meditate upon them from the level of the stream enters or the first Bhumi Bodhisattva and beyond. The stream enterers, I don't know if you have heard of this, is to the arahatship, the first stage. There are 4 stages in arahatship. So the first one will be the stream enterer, or no, sorry, the fourth level of this arahatship. So the stream enterer, and or the first Bhumi Bodhisattva and beyond can directly perceive emptiness and thereby eradicate conceptual clinging. At this point, they perceive the teachings directly. Okay. And then the fourth is the realized Dharma, 正法. Ordinary beings can also move toward realization by hearing, contemplating, and meditating. Listen, reflect, and put into practice, thereby gaining an inferential understanding of the scriptural teachings, progressing step by step toward direct insight. Okay. So let me repeat these 4 main aspects when we talk about turning the wheel. Seeing the Buddha's wheel of teachings, 教法论, scriptural teachings, 教法, realized wheel of teachings, 正法论, and realized Dharma, 正法. Okay. And then let's recite this verse together. All those fortunate ones who are unobscured by the darkness of partisanship, who have the mental capacity to differentiate good and bad, and who wish to make meaningful this good life of leisure, should listen with one pointed attention. 诸有偏执暗未复具变善恶妙慧力欲令侠身不唐捐诸具善者专力听. Okay, so all those fortunate ones who are unobscured by the darkness of partisanship. So you can see here I put on this verse, this part of the verses are all different people included to this who are unobscured by the darkness of partisanship. Okay. So those fortunate ones, those referred to as fortunate ones are people who wish to engage in spiritual practice, but have not heard enough of the Dharma to grasp its essential points, or those whose exposure to the Buddha's teachings is partial, or who lack the ability to discern which teachings are definitive and which are provisional. Okay, so that those fortunate ones. So J. Tsongkhapa still offers help to such individuals, or we can say us, including, of course, following the footsteps of the root groups of ours, to offer help to such individuals as long as they genuinely want to learn and are willing to accept guidance from a qualified teacher or teachers. In addition, there is another important requirement. Okay, so what would be the requirement? This, who have the mental capacity to differentiate good and bad. For instance, anyone claiming that we only need to practice and don't need to study the teachings. Okay, when you hear that, this kind of expression is a mistaken view. Of course, we need to practice, but we also need to study. Study is just like reading a map. So no, so after reading the map, you know the routes, you know the directions from one point to the other point. Uh, you know how you can walk unmistakably to achieve the goal, to achieve the destination. Okay, so to walk the path properly, we need a well-rounded understanding of the Buddha's words, uh, along with the ability to reflect critically on them. Okay, so that's the wisdom we have to possess as a Buddhist practitioner. And then, and who wish to make meaningful this good life of leisure. Okay, we might all acknowledge the impermanence of the Buddha's teaching. Importance, sorry. We might all acknowledge the importance of the Buddha's teachings, but we often let our own weaknesses or the pursuit of mundane pleasures and the countless distractions of worldly life sap our resolve to practice. We must make proper use of our precious human birth by cultivating the conditions to truly learn and apply the Dharma. Okay, so talk about this good life of leisure. Many think this means freedom in terms of time or finances. In the context of Buddhism, however, it refers primarily to having the conditions to study the Buddha's teachings, especially under the guidance of a wise and competent guru. Okay, so good life is like that. Okay, and to talk about the eight unfavorable states, human like four belongs to the human creatures, four non-human creatures. So we did not being born in hell or hungry ghost or being an animal or as a long-lived deity or god or heavenly being or being born in a remote place as a barbarian, okay, or upholding wrong views or as an not really intelligent person or mute, okay, or being without a victor's teachings, which means the teachings of the Buddha's teachings, the teachings of the Buddha we didn't receive. Okay, so Teacher Tom once said, some people say they are so busy that they feel like working exhausted most of the time, which is akin to experiencing the mentality of the animal realm. Like they always express, especially in Chinese, like I'm so tired, just like a dog. Okay, appreciate that you have not been born as an animal, that you are not living in a muddled, ignorant state. Strive to avoid letting busyness or scattered thoughts take over our minds. Okay, so of course we can be busy, but what kind of busyness we are encountering or embracing? Okay, so this is so important to keep in mind. So to have this precious life form, Teacher Tang even said, "Okay, thank goodness we have this." You know, so we are not in extreme suffering or in an overly comfortable environment like heavenly beings. So we should cherish this life form, okay, so that we won't waste away with nothing meaningful to do and really make use of this life form to cultivate the Dharma. And 10 endowments, the five personal and five relation to others. Five personal is like born as a human, and in a central land, meaning like the place where you can have better technology, better accessibilities to also like libraries, internet, and all these civilized more comfy environment for us to cultivate the Dharma, and having all one's faculties. We can hear clearly, we can see with no hindrances, not perverted by the heinous crimes. So yeah, it's good. It's still very peaceful, relatively peaceful, and having enduring faith. Okay, we have this faith in morality and precepts. Okay. And in five, relation to others, a Buddha has come, a Buddha taught the Dharma, uh, the teachings remain, the teachings are followed, and people have love in their hearts for others. Especially, we can receive some supports while studying the Dharma. Like Venerable Chikaku, having a lot of different helps from people so that you can continue this path to enlightenment, for example. So, yeah, so the 8 unfavorable states avoid and 10 endowments received. So we have this leisure life. And should listen with one pointed attention. The internal factor, the ability to distinguish good from bad. Okay, that's the good, the one pointed attention person, the one who's listening. Yeah, he has this internal factor already. An external factor, access to a qualified teacher who can skillfully present the entire breadth of the Buddha's teachings. And so when we talk about this qualified spiritual guru, must teach according to the structure of the stages of the path to enlightenment, thereby ensuring that students can gradually gain the comprehensive grasp of the Dharma. Okay. So yeah, we are on the path right now. Okay, so after sharing these part from of the these verses from this prologue, any questions so far, or anything to add?
None from me. Don't know of Shojin or Senya Tenzing. If you have anything you'd like to say.
Not at the moment.
How about Mark?
Yeah, Mark's not here, I think.
Okay, Mark is not here. We have oh, Xenia. Do you have any questions?
No, right now, no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Trying to follow the lecture.
A lecture, okay. And then I will just add a little bit about this qualified spiritual guru. So we have like 10 qualities as a qualified spiritual guru. However, if we cannot remember all of them, at least two parts are important. Okay. One is someone who is seeking the Dharma desperately. Okay. And try to reach the accuracy as much as possible in learning the Dharma. Uh, like knowledge wise and practice wise as well. So for those who are so eagerly pursuing the Dharma and pursuing this accuracy of explaining the Dharma, okay, that is one quality as a qualified spiritual guru should have. And the other part is to have this at least compassion. Okay, so someone asks questions. This gurus, particularly the one who is seeking the Dharma, would make time, for anyone who wants to study the Dharma, and then he will explain the Dharma tirelessly. Okay. He will not show like, oh, I'm busy, I can't help you, you're on your own because I'm busy with pursuing my Dharma, pursuing my enlightenment. Okay, so if you have at least these two requirements, one, like he's really and sincerely hoping to explain the Dharma correctly, and of course, understanding the Dharma accurately, and two, like having this compassion, having this patience, like listening to people's need and helping people to know more about the Dharma, then at least that kind of teacher, we can spend time with them. We can spend time with all these kind of teachers together, yeah, to learn the Dharma. And the ability to distinguish good from bad. Okay, so obviously we can't because there's not so much Dharma teachings we received, and so how would we be able to differentiate good from bad? Okay, to distinguish the good from bad. And so if we can't differentiate the good and bad and to seek for a qualified teacher, how would I know if the person is the right person to follow with? Okay. So this would be a kind of like a question, hard to solve, right? Like, yes, I have to have this ability to distinguish good from bad, but that should be required when we have a good teacher. But when we don't have this ability to distinguish good from bad, then how will we be able to tell if the person is the right person we can follow? So, Venerable Myogen, would you please share some of your thoughts?
On how to distinguish good from bad with teachers when we can't distinguish good or bad for ourselves, even. Um, I mean, when I think of this question or kind of comment as well, um, how do you say? There's that point where we start studying the Dharma on our own through various books and texts. So we kind of have that piecemeal understanding that you were mentioning before. Um, and I think one of the things that we could focus on is the ethical conduct, right? Like seeing how that teacher's behavior is. Like you mentioned, showing these two qualities of having a desire or a thirst for Dharma, and then compassion and kind of helping other people understand tirelessly. Um, so yeah, this right from wrong. I believe we look at the ethical principles first, and some of those I think are very secular as well. Teachers that aren't killing or stealing or trying to turn religion into a business or having some kind of sexual misconduct with students. That generally they have some kind of positive qualities. And we can use things like the five precepts or 10 good deeds to look at that as a good baseline, um, right? So at
Yes.
least we know we won't engage in harmful action. We may not have the correct view, but that might come later through studying and testing out whether or not what they teach us is actually true or not, right? Um, through our own like logic and process and asking questions, and that they're open to that, right? Rather than just they say something and we have to blindly accept, but they're willing to engage in a discussion about it. Um, I think then over time we develop the ability to distinguish good from bad.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. So, so to attract this kind of guru is when we also have these two qualities. Like
Mm.
we're also seeking the Dharma desperately, and hoping to explain the teachings correctly so that we are seeking for a qualified teacher. Another thing is, well, we also have this hoping to help people, wishing to help people around when they encounter any difficulties. We want to just help them. So we have all these two qualities, so we can mostly be able to encounter a qualified spiritual guru. Of course, with the intention to reach enlightenment one day, to become a Buddha one day. So with this kind of pursuit, then it will be more likely to meet someone who is a qualified good teacher. Yeah, that will to guide our path to enlightenment. Okay. Thank you, Venerable. So Sojin, do you have any questions or any thoughts, feedbacks? Shojin, right?
Um, hmm, not so much. I don't I don't have any particular questions that are really coming to mind, but thank you for asking.
Thank you. Okay, so if not, and then this would be our session for today. And we have finished this prologue from these three sessions. And I hope that you all will have this clear understanding of the prologue by Master Tsongkhapa, like homage at the beginning, paying homage to the root guru, paying homage to the lineage, making a vow to compose the treatise. And now let's begin the prayer after learning drawing poems. May the merit gained from the practice adorn the Buddha's pure land. May it repay the kindness of parents, sentient beings, teachers, and truthful James, the three jewels from above, and relieve the suffering of those in the hell-hungry ghost and animal realms below. May those who see or hear of this practice generate inspiration for ultimate enlightenment. When this life ends, may we be born together in the land of ultimate bliss. Pray to all Buddhas of the 10 directions, past, present, and future. To all Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Mahaprajna Paramita. Amitofo.